The chamber was silent. Thousands of alien beings from across the galaxy waited for the final count. Ambassador Giwan Kim stood alone at the human podium, her hands clasped behind her back. Her face showed nothing. No fear, no anger, just calm patience. The Galactic Council chamber floated in space above Centrum Prime. It was a massive structure. It's built over 10,000 years ago. Inside, representatives from nearly 900 different worlds gathered to decide one question. Should humanity be allowed to remain part of the galactic community? Council Prime Velferis raised one of his 6 arms. The insectoid leader's compound eyes reflected the lights of 1,000 data screens. His voice echoed through translation devices worn by every delegate. The count is complete. 847 systems vote to banish Earth from galactic space. 12 systems vote against banishment. The motion passes. Juan did not move. Behind her, Captain Minho Park stood with 3 other human officers. He wanted to step forward, to protest, to demand they reconsider. But Jiwan had been clear. They would accept the vote with dignity. Delegate Thornock rose from his seat. The reptilian was large, covered in red scales that seemed to glow with satisfaction. He had led the campaign against humanity for 3 years. His tail swept across the floor as he turned to address the council. This is a great day for galactic peace. Humanity has proven too dangerous, too aggressive, too unpredictable to remain among civilized species. They expand without permission. They militarize every world they touch. They refuse to follow proper protocols. Today we correct the mistake of allowing them entry 50 years ago. Murmurs of agreement rippled through the chamber. Many delegates nodded. Some looked uncomfortable, but they had voted yes anyway. Fear was a powerful motivator. Jiwan had watched this coming for months. The signs were clear. Humanity had made powerful enemies simply by existing. They built too fast. They innovated too quickly. They asked too many questions about why things had always been done a certain way. The Council Prime spoke again. Earth and all human colonies have 90 days to withdraw from galactic space. All trade agreements are void. All diplomatic relations are severed. All humans must leave Council territory. These terms are final. Now Guan moved. She stepped forward to the podium's edge. Every eye in the chamber turned to her. Many expected anger. Some hoped for begging. Most anticipated threats. Council Prime, I request permission for a final statement. Veltheris hesitated. His mandibles clicked together, a sign of uncertainty in his species. But tradition demanded he allow it. You may speak, Ambassador. Kuan looked across the chamber. She had spent 5 years here. She had made friends among the delegates. She had also made enemies. Today, she would address them all one last time. 50 years ago, humanity received an invitation to join the Galactic Council. We were told this was a great honor. We were young, excited, and grateful. We believed we were joining a community of equals. She paused. We were wrong. Several delegates shifted in their seats. Thornock's eyes narrowed. We arrived with open hands and open hearts. We followed your rules. We paid your taxes. We accepted your limitations on our expansion. We tried to fit into a system that was never designed for us. And every step of the way, we were told we were too much. Too loud, too fast, too different. Minho watched Jiwan carefully. This was not the speech they had prepared. She was going off script. You vote to banish us because you fear us. Not because we have attacked you. Not because we have broken your laws. But because we dare to be ourselves. Because we question traditions that make no sense. Because we will not accept that things must stay the same simply because they have always been that way. Thornock slammed his clawed hand on his desk. This is exactly the arrogance we speak of. You presume to lecture us? To judge our ways? Guan turned to face him directly. No, Delegate Thornock. I am simply stating facts. You have made your choice. You have voted to cast us out. And we will respect that vote. We will leave your space. We will withdraw from your territories. We will sever all official ties. Relief washed over many faces in the chamber. They had expected resistance. Violence, even. But Giwan was promising compliance. However, she continued, and her voice grew harder. Understand this. You are not banishing us back to Earth to hide and diminish. You are releasing us from your rules, from your restrictions, from your control. The chamber grew still again. Something in her tone made them listen. For 50 years, we have played by your rules. We have limited our expansion to approved sectors. We have used only authorized technologies. We have paid tribute to this council for the privilege of existing among you. Those days are over. Council Prime Veltheris leaned forward. Ambassador Kim, are you threatening this council? No, Council Prime. I am making a promise. We will leave. We will comply with your vote. But we will not return to Earth and wait for you to change your minds. We will not beg for readmission. We will not seek your approval ever again. She looked around the chamber one more time. You have shown us what you truly think of humanity. You have drawn a line and placed us outside it. Very well, we accept this. But do not expect us to simply disappear. Do not expect us to fail. And do not expect that your rules will govern what we do beyond your borders. Minho felt a chill run down his spine. He suddenly understood what Giwan was really saying. This was not surrender. This was a declaration. In 90 days, every human will be gone from your space. Our embassies will close. Our trade ships will depart. Our colonies and council sectors will be evacuated. You will get exactly what you voted for. Giwan's eyes fixed on Thornock. I hope it brings you the peace you seek. She stepped back from the podium and gave a formal bow, the kind required by council protocol. Then she turned and walked toward the exit. Minho and the other officers fell in behind her as they left. The chamber erupted in conversation. Some delegates celebrated. Others looked worried. A few, like Counselor Isara of the Avian Kelthans, looked sad. Thornock stood and raised his arms in victory. Let this be a lesson to all who would disrupt our order. The council remained strong. But Council Prime Veltheris did not celebrate. He watched the humans leave and felt something he had not expected. Doubt. The ambassador's words echoed in his mind. She had not begged. She had not threatened. She had simply accepted the vote and promised to move forward. Why did that feel more dangerous than any threat could have been? Outside the chamber, Minho caught up to Juan. Ambassador, that was not the speech we prepared. Juan smiled for the first time that day. No, it was not. But it was the speech they needed to hear. What happens now? Ow! Juan looked out at the stars visible through the station's windows. Now we show them what humanity can really do. They wanted us gone. They shall have their wish. But they will regret giving us our freedom. The 90-day countdown had begun. President Suho Kong stood at the podium in the United Nations building in Geneva. Behind him, the flags of every nation on Earth hung in neat rows. Before him, cameras broadcast his words to 8 billion. People across the planet and another 2 billion scattered across human colonies and space. His voice was steady, calm. He had practiced this speech for 3 years, hoping he would never need to give it, my fellow humans. By now you have all heard the news. The Galactic Council has voted to banish Earth from galactic space. We have 90 days to withdraw all our people, all our ships, all our presence from their territory. He paused. Some of you are afraid. Some of you are angry. I understand both feelings. But I ask you to set them aside and listen. In homes across Earth, families gathered around screens. In space stations orbiting Mars and Jupiter, workers stopped their shifts. In distant colonies, people watched and waited. 50 years ago, we were invited to join the galaxy. We went eagerly. We were like children entering a grand library, amazed by all there was to learn. We accepted their rules because we believed they knew better than us. We were wrong to think so little of ourselves. At UNSC headquarters deep below Geneva, Admiral Hee-Jin Lee watched the speech on a monitor while reviewing deployment orders. Next to her, Dr. Doyen Choi studied data streams flowing across holographic displays. They had been working for 72 hours straight. Council fears us because we ask questions. They banish us because we refuse to accept that the old ways are the only ways. They cast us out because we dare to imagine something better. So be it. If they do not want us in their galaxy, we will build our own. The tone of his voice changed. It grew stronger. I have been asked what we will do now. The answer is simple. We will survive. We will thrive. We will show the galaxy what humanity is truly capable of when we are free to be ourselves. Admiral Hyjin stood and addressed the officers assembled in the command center. Execute Operation Homeward. All ships begin immediate withdrawal from Council space. Priority Alpha protocols are now active. Across the galaxy, human ships received encrypted orders. Captain Minho Park stood on the bridge of the UNSC Beijing, humanity's largest warship. Around him, his crew moved with practiced precision. Navigation. Set course for Sector 47. Best speed. Sir, that sector is outside Council space. It is listed as uninhabitable. Listed by the Council, Minho said with a slight smile. Our surveys say otherwise. Execute the order. The Beijing turned away from the Council patrol route it had been assigned to. Across dozens of systems, hundreds of human ships did the same. They did not flee in panic. They moved with purpose, following plans that had been prepared in secret for years. Back on Earth, Dr. Doyon addressed a private gathering of scientists and engineers. The Council restricted our research for 50 years. They said certain technologies were too dangerous, too advanced. They wanted to keep us dependent on their systems, their infrastructure, their control. He activated a hologram. It showed a ship unlike any in the Council fleet. Sleek, fast, built with human ingenuity. This is the Phoenix-class cruiser. It uses our perfected Alcubierre drive. It can travel twice as fast as any Council ship. And we have been building them for 10 years. Gasps filled the room. One engineer stood. But how? The Council monitors all military construction. They monitor construction in their space, Dr. Doyon said. We have been building in the outer systems, in places they never bothered to look, because they assumed we would obey their rules even when they were not watching. Admiral Hejan took over the briefing. We have 40 Phoenix-class ships ready for deployment. We have 70 more under construction. By the time the Council realizes what we have, we will be far beyond their reach. What about the colonies? Someone asked. We have 3 million people living in Council sectors. How do we evacuate them in 90 days? We do not evacuate them, Hyjin said. We relocate them. Every colonist has been briefed. They know where to go. The Council thinks we only have transport capacity for a few 100,000. They do not know about our hidden shipyards. We can move everyone in 30 days. Across human colonies, people packed essential belongings. But there was no panic. No crying. Children asked questions, and parents answered honestly. Yes, they were leaving. No, they were not going back to Earth. They were going somewhere new. Somewhere better. On the colony world of New Boston, Commander Unisong supervised the loading operations. She had been the governor here for 5 years. She had built relationships with alien neighbors, had welcomed Council inspectors, had followed every regulation perfectly. Now she watched as the last cargo containers were loaded onto transport ships. In her pocket, she carried a data chip. It contained construction plans for a new colony. A better one. One built with human designs, not Council restrictions. Her deputy approached. Commander, the Kelthans in the next system are asking if they can come with us. They say the Council taxes them into poverty. They want to join the humans. Una smiled. Tell them yes. Anyone who wants freedom is welcome. That is the human way. President Kong's speech continued. The Council believes they are punishing us. They believe banishment will weaken us. They are wrong. They are freeing us. For 50 years, we have operated with one hand tied behind our backs. No more. In research facilities across Earth and Mars, scientists began unsealing projects that had been hidden for decades. Technologies that the Council had forbidden. Ideas that had been deemed revolutionary. Innovations that had been suppressed. Dr. Doyon stood before a massive manufacturing facility buried deep under the lunar surface. This is quantum manufacturing. We can build anything with just energy and base materials. No rare elements. No dependence on council trade. We can be completely self-sufficient. One of his assistants asked the question on everyone's mind. Why did we hide all this? Why did we not tell the council what we could do? Because they would have seen it as a threat, Doyon explained. They would have moved against us sooner. We needed time to prepare. Now we are ready. Ambassador Giwan had returned to Earth. She met with President Kang in his private office. The withdrawal is going smoothly. No incidents so far. The council is watching but not interfering.
Good.
And the message? Ready to send whenever you give the word. President Kang looked at the document on his desk. It was a formal statement to the Galactic Council. Brief, polite, final. Send it. The message went out across all channels. It reached the Council Prime within minutes. Valtheris read it aloud to his advisors. To the Galactic Council, humanity acknowledges your vote and accepts banishment from Council space. All human presence will be removed within the mandated time frame. We thank you for the opportunity to have participated in galactic affairs. We wish you peace and prosperity. However, we must make clear that your authority ends at the border of your space. Beyond that border, your rules do not apply to us. We will forge our own path among the stars. We hold no hostility toward the Council, but we will not be bound by your laws outside your jurisdiction. Respectfully, President Suho Kang, United Earth Government. One of the advisors spoke. Is this a threat? No, Valtheris said slowly. It is a declaration of independence. They are not asking for permission. They are informing us of their intentions. Should we be concerned? The Council Prime did not answer immediately. He thought about Ambassador Giwan's final speech, about the calm way the humans had accepted the vote, about the organized way they were leaving. Nothing about their behavior suggested a species in defeat. Yes, he finally said. I believe we should be very concerned. Back on Earth, Admiral Hyjin reviewed the deployment schedules. In 30 days, every human would be clear of Council space. In 60 days, new colonies would be established in regions the Council had never explored. In 90 days, humanity would emerge stronger than ever. Captain Minho sent a final transmission from the Beijing. All ships report ready. Operation Homeward is on schedule. The Council thinks we are running away. They will learn the truth soon enough. President Kang ended his speech to humanity with words that would echo through history. We did not choose this banishment, but we will not waste it. The galaxy wanted us gone. Let us show them what gone really means. Let us show them what humanity can become when we are truly free. 18 months had passed since the vote. In the Galactic Council chamber, emergency sessions were becoming routine. Today's topic was the same as the last 5 meetings: humanity. Delegate Thornock stood before the assembly, his red scales darker than usual, a sign of stress in his species. They are everywhere, everywhere. My traders report human colonies in sectors we deemed uninhabitable. Our scouts find human stations in systems we have not even surveyed. How is this possible? Council Prime Valtheris listened to the reports with growing unease. When he had cast the humans out, he expected them to retreat to Earth, to lick their wounds, to eventually come back and beg for readmission under stricter terms. Instead, they had vanished beyond Council borders and exploded across the frontier like a supernova. Counselor. Isara of the Kelthans spoke up. Her feathered crest was raised in concern. Council Prime, we must acknowledge the facts. Human expansion has exceeded all predictions. They have established over 200 colonies in 18 months. 200. It took the Kelthan people 300 years to establish that many. They are using unauthorized technologies, another delegate complained. Their ships travel faster than regulations permit. Their manufacturing does not follow approved methods. They ignore all proper protocols. They are no longer bound by our regulations, Izara reminded the chamber. We banish them. We have no authority over what they do outside our space. In the frontier regions, far from Council eyes, Commander Unisong stood on the observation deck of Freedom Station. The station was enormous. It housed 50,000 people, from a dozen different species, and it had been built in just 8 months. Engineer Ji-hoon Bae joined her at the viewing port. The third ring is complete. We can begin housing installations next week. At this rate, we will have capacity for 200,000 within a year. Good. The requests keep coming. 3 more species asked to join us this morning. Ji-hoon looked at her curiously. Why do they all want to leave the council? They have been members for centuries. Because they are tired, Yuna said simply. Tired of taxes that go to council bureaucrats instead of their own people. Tired of regulations that serve no purpose except to maintain control. Tired of being told that progress must move at the speed of the slowest member. She pointed to a construction site in the distance. See that? The Borellian refugees are building their first free habitat. In council space, they paid 70% tax on all trade. Here, they pay nothing. They keep what they earn. They build what they need. Communication alert chimed. Yuna accepted it. The hologram of Captain Minho appeared. Commander Song, I bring news from the inner systems. The council has sent scouts to observe our activities. Let them watch. We have nothing to hide. There's more. Admiral Hyjin reports that several council species have opened unofficial diplomatic channels with us. They are not seeking permission from their government. They are acting independently. Yuna smiled. How many? Last count was 184 systems. They want trade agreements. Technology exchanges. Some are even asking about joining our alliance. After Minho's hologram faded, Ji-hoon spoke again. Do you think the council will try to stop this? They already are trying. They threaten sanctions against any species that trades with us. They claim we are dangerous, unpredictable. The same words they used when they banished us, but it is not working. No, because we offer something the council does not. We offer freedom. We offer fair trade. We offer technology that works better than theirs. And we offer it without demanding control in return. Across the frontier, similar scenes played out on dozens of worlds. Human colonies sprang up in places the council had dismissed as worthless. Asteroid belts became mining operations. Gas giants became fuel refineries. Ice worlds became agricultural centers. Dr. Doyen's quantum manufacturing made it all possible. Humans no longer needed rare materials controlled by council cartels. They could build anything anywhere. The economic implications were staggering. Xenobiologist Seo Jin Han made first contact with the Drellics, species the council had never bothered to visit. They lived in a system with no valuable resources. The council saw no profit in them, so they were ignored. Seo Jin's ship landed on their world, and she emerged with gifts. Not weapons. Not demands. Just information. Star charts. Medical technology. Agricultural techniques. The Drellic elder approached cautiously. Why do you give us these things? What do you want in return? Friendship, Seojin said through her translator. We believe all intelligent species deserve the chance to thrive. The council measures worth by what they can take from you. We measure worth by what we can build together. Within a month, the Drellics had established formal relations with humanity's Free Systems Alliance. Within 3 months, they had human teachers helping upgrade their technology. Within 6 months, they were trading partners. This pattern repeated across the frontier. Humanity found the forgotten, the exploited, the ignored, and they offered them something radical. Respect back in council space. The economic effects were becoming impossible to ignore. Merchant Lord Quilnick sat in his office reviewing profit reports. They were devastating. His trade empire, built over 2 centuries, was collapsing. His assistant tried to explain, "My lord, the shipping routes are empty. Everyone is trading with the humans now. They offer better prices, faster delivery, and no taxation. But our agreements? We have exclusive contracts with dozens of systems. They are breaking those contracts. They say the penalties for breaking them are less than the profits they lose by honoring them." Quilnick slammed his appendage on the desk. The council must do something. But the council was paralyzed. Any action against humanity would be seen as aggression against a banished species. It would make the council look petty, vindictive, and it would likely drive even more systems into humanity's arms. Delegate Thornock took a different approach. He began gathering support for military action. In secret meetings, he argued that humanity was a growing threat that must be contained before it was too late. "They make us look weak," he told his supporters. "Every day they grow stronger and we lose face. Systems are questioning whether the council is still relevant. If we do not act soon, we will lose everything." General Corvan, the council's supreme military commander, listened to these arguments with interest. He was a warrior from a warrior species. The idea of allowing an upstart race to challenge council authority offended him deeply. "What do you propose?" He asked Thornock, a demonstration of force. "Nothing major. We strike one of their outlying colonies. Show them that we will not tolerate their expansion. Show everyone that the council is still powerful. If they retaliate, they will not dare. We have thousands of ships. They have barely a few hundred. They will accept the lesson and retreat." But Council Prime Veltheris refused to authorize military action. "We voted to banish them. We cannot now punish them for leaving. It would be hypocritical and foolish." Thornock left the meeting furious. Veltheris was weak, too cautious. Something had to be done, with or without official approval. Meanwhile, Ambassador Juan, now representing the Free Systems Alliance, sent her second message to the Council. It was broadcast openly, not as a diplomatic communiqué, but as a public statement. To the people of the Galactic Council, 18 months ago, your leaders voted to banish humanity. They called us dangerous, aggressive, unpredictable. They wanted us gone. We obliged. We left your space. We ended all official relations. And we moved forward. The message played on communication networks across Council space. People everywhere stopped to watch. Since then, we have built a new community. A community based not on control, but on cooperation. Not on taxation, but on mutual benefit. Not on fear, but on hope. We call it the Free Systems Alliance, and we extend an invitation to any species that shares our values. We do not ask you to leave the Council. We do not ask you to choose sides. We simply offer an alternative. A place where your worth is not measured by what resources you control. Where progress is not limited by ancient traditions. Where every species has an equal voice. The message ended with a simple statement. We are no longer asking to join you. We are offering you the chance to join us. The impact was immediate. Council communication networks were flooded with inquiries. Systems wanted to know more about this alliance. They wanted to know how to establish contact. They wanted to know if the offer was real. In his chambers, Council Prime Veltheris watched the message 3 times. Each viewing increased his sense of dread. The ambassador was brilliant. She had turned banishment into recruitment. She had made humanity's exile look like liberation. Counselor Asara visited him late that night. "You see it now, do you not? We did not banish them. We freed them. And in doing so, we created our own competitor. Can we stop this? I do not know, but I fear we may have already lost." 3 years after the banishment, the Galactic Council faced a crisis that threatened its very existence. The emergency session had been called at midnight, Council Standard Time. Nearly every delegate was present, either in person or by hologram. Council Prime Veltheris stood at the central podium. His mandibles clicked nervously. "The situation is unsustainable. 217 council systems have opened unofficial diplomatic relations with humanity's Free Systems Alliance. Trade revenue has dropped by 40%. 6 systems have formally requested to leave the council." The chamber erupted in angry voices. Delegates shouted over each other. Some blamed Veltheris for being too weak. Others blamed Thornock for pushing the original banishment. A few blamed humanity for having the audacity to succeed. Counselor Izara managed to be heard over the chaos. "We must face reality. The humans are not our enemies. They have attacked no one. They have threatened no one. They have simply built something better than what we offer, and people are choosing them over us." Delegate Thornock's scales flushed deep crimson. "Better," They are pirates, rebels. They steal our trade routes, corrupt our members, and undermine our authority. They compete with us, Isara corrected. There is a difference. And they are winning because they offer what we do not. Freedom from oppressive taxation. Access to superior technology. Equal treatment regardless of size or age or power. A delegate from the Vrexian Empire stood. What technology? What makes their system superior? General Korvan activated a holographic display. It showed data the Council military had gathered through covert surveillance. Their ships are faster. Their weapons are more efficient. Their manufacturing processes require fewer resources, and their colony infrastructure can be deployed in 1/10 of the time ours requires. The chamber fell silent. Many delegates had suspected this, but seeing the data made it real. How did this happen? Someone asked. We monitored their research. We restricted their development. How did they surpass us? Because they never stopped researching, Corvin said. They simply hid it from us. For decades, they secretly developed technologies beyond our approved limits. They were preparing for this day long before we voted to banish them. President Suho Kong sat in his office on Earth, reading the intelligence reports. The council was fracturing. Some wanted war. Some wanted negotiation. Some simply wanted to pretend humanity did not exist and hope the problem went away. Admiral Hagen entered without knocking. That alone told him the news was significant. General Corvin's fleet has been spotted near the edge of our space. Intelligence suggests he is planning a strike without council authorization. Which colony? New Haven? It is lightly defended. Only 3 ships in orbit. He likely thinks it will be an easy target, and it will not be. Haijin smiled coldly. Captain Minho is already en route with the entire 3rd Fleet. 20 Phoenix-class cruisers and support vessels. If Corvin attacks, he will receive a very unpleasant surprise. Will he really do it? Will the Council actually attack us? Corvin will. He believes we are weak. He believes our success is luck or trickery. He needs to learn otherwise. In New Haven Colony, the 3 visible defense ships maintained their patrol routes. They appeared to be standard cargo vessels converted for light defense. Outdated, minimal armament. Exactly what the Council expected humans to have. What Corvin's scouts did not detect were the 20 warships holding position in the asteroid field nearby. Their stealth systems, another technology the Council did not know humans possessed, kept them invisible. Captain Minho sat in the command chair of the Beijing. Around him, his crew prepared for battle. They had trained for this, hoped it would never come. But they were ready. Sir, Council ships entering the system? Count is 43 vessels, mostly destroyers and frigates. Hold position. Weapons cold. Do not give them any excuse to claim we attacked first. Corvin's flagship, the Dominion, led the attack force. The general stood on his bridge, confident and eager. This would be quick. A few shots to destroy the pathetic human defenses. A clear message sent. Then a withdrawal before anyone could respond. Target the defense ships. Prepare to fire on my command. On New Haven's surface, Commander Yuna received the alert. All civilians to shelters. This is not a drill. Council forces are in system and hostile. The evacuation was smooth, practiced. Every colonist knew where to go. Within minutes, the surface installations were empty. Corvin gave the order. Fire. Plasma bolts lanced across space. 2 of the human defense ships were destroyed instantly. The 3rd took damage but managed to transmit a distress signal before exploding. Target the colony itself, Corvin commanded. Destroy their infrastructure. Show them the price of defiance. That was when Minho acted. All ships dropped stealth. Active targeting. Fire at will. The asteroid field seemed to explode as 20 warships suddenly appeared on Corvin's sensors, before his crew could even process what was happening. The first volley hit. Human railguns, firing projectiles at relativistic speeds, tore through Council shields like paper. Missile salvos, guided by quantum targeting systems, found their marks with perfect accuracy. Energy weapons operating on principles Council scientists had deemed impossible burned through armor plating. In 30 seconds, Korvan lost 15 ships. In 1 minute, the number was 30. His fleet, confident and aggressive, was being systematically destroyed. Retreat. All ships retreat. Korvan's voice had lost its confidence. Now there was only panic, but the humans were faster. Their ships could accelerate and maneuver in ways that defied Council understanding of physics. They herded Korvan's remaining forces, cutting off escape routes, forcing surrenders. The Beijing pulled alongside the damaged Dominion. Minho opened a communication channel. General Korvan's face appeared on the screen. He looked shocked, defeated. General Korvan, you attacked a civilian colony without provocation. You murdered innocent people. In any civilized society, this would be considered a war crime. You were hiding your ships. You deceived us. You defended our people. You attacked them. There is no moral equivalence here. Minho's voice was cold. Here is what will happen. You will order all surviving ships to power down weapons and surrender. Your crews will be detained, but treated well. You will face trial for your crimes. And the galaxy will know what happened here today. The Council will never accept this. They will send everything against you. The Council did not authorize this attack. You acted alone. We have the communications intercepts to prove it. You are a rogue general who started an illegal war, and you lost. The battle, if it could even be called that, was over in 10 minutes. Of Korvan's 43 ships, 8 were destroyed. 35 surrendered. Not a single human vessel took serious damage. The recordings were broadcast across the galaxy within hours. Every news network, every communication channel, every data feed showed the same thing. A Council military force led by a general attacking a human colony without cause, and the humans defending themselves with overwhelming superiority. The political impact was devastating for the Council. The military impact was even worse. Every military analyst who watched the footage reached the same conclusion. Human military technology was not just better, it was generations ahead. In the Council chamber, Valtheris addressed the assembled delegates with barely controlled fury. General Korvan acted without authorization. He violated our laws and started a conflict we did not want. And he revealed just how outmatched we are. Delegate Thornock tried to defend the action. He was trying to protect Council interests. He was trying to start a war we cannot win. Valtheris's voice rose to a shout, something unprecedented for him. Did you watch the footage? Did you see how icily they destroyed our ships? We have thousands of vessels. But if they are all as obsolete as Korvan's fleet, numbers will not save us. Merchant Lord Quilnick stood. All eyes turned to him. He was known as one of the Council's wealthiest and most connected members. What he said next shocked everyone. I am formally requesting to withdraw my systems from the Council and apply for membership in the Free Systems Alliance. Chaos erupted. Delegates shouted accusations of treason, but Quilnick stood firm. I have spent 2 years watching my business collapse because I stayed loyal to the Council. I have watched the humans offer better terms, better technology, and better treatment to everyone they encounter. I have seen you drive away species with excessive taxation and rigid control, and now I have watched us attack them without cause and lose humiliatingly. He looked around the chamber. The Council is dying. You can either accept that and try to negotiate from whatever strength we have left, or you can continue pretending we are still the dominant power in the galaxy. I choose to join those who represent the future rather than cling to a past that is already gone. Other delegates began standing. One by one, they announced similar intentions. By the end of the session, 47 systems had declared their intent to leave the Council. President Kang received a communication request from Council Prime Valtheris. It was marked urgent and personal. President Kang, we need to talk. Not as enemies, but as leaders who both want to avoid further bloodshed. Will you meet with me? Suho looked at Admiral Heejin, who stood nearby. She nodded slightly. This was the moment they had been waiting for. The neutral space station hung in the void between Council Space and the Free Systems Alliance. It had been built specifically for these negotiations. Neither side had weapons nearby. Neither side had military forces within 3 systems. This meeting would be about words, not warfare. Ambassador Ji-won walked through the airlock, followed by President Suho Kong and Admiral Haijin Lee. On the other side of the station, Council Prime Valtheris entered with Councillor Asara and 3 other delegates. Notably absent was Delegate Thornock. He had been removed from power after Corvin's unauthorized attack. The 2 groups met in a circular chamber with windows showing the stars. For a long moment, nobody spoke. 5 years ago, they had been on opposite sides of a vote that changed everything. Now they were here to determine what came next. Valtheris spoke first. President Kang, Ambassador Kim, thank you for agreeing to meet. I know we have much to discuss. Council Prime Suho replied with a slight bow. Before we begin formal negotiations, I believe we should acknowledge some truths. Will you permit me to speak plainly? I would prefer honesty to diplomatic language. Yes, speak plainly. 5 years ago, you voted to banish us. You believed we were too dangerous to remain in your community. You thought removing us would solve your problems. Instead, it created new ones. Ones you did not anticipate. Valtheris's mandibles clicked in what might have been a sigh. You are correct. We underestimated humanity. We thought you would return to Earth and diminish. Instead, you flourished. We thought you were dependent on our systems. Instead, you built better ones. We thought we were strong. Instead, you showed us our weakness. We do not say this to gloat, Guan added. We say it so we can move forward from a place of truth rather than pretense. Sierra leaned forward. Her feathered crest was raised in a gesture of respect. What do you want from us? Revenge? Reparations? An apology? Admiral Haijin answered. What we want is what we have always wanted. To be treated as equals, to be respected for who we are, not feared for what we might become. To build a future where all species can thrive according to their own nature. You could destroy the Council, Valtheris said quietly. Your military superiority is obvious. Your economic model is more attractive. Your technology is superior. You could demand complete surrender, and many in the Council would have no choice but to accept. Suho shook his head. That is not who we are. We do not seek to conquer. We do not desire to rule over others. We simply wish to exist freely and help others do the same. And what do you propose? The negotiations lasted for 3 weeks. They were broadcast live across the galaxy. Every species, council member or not, watched as the future was debated and shaped. The discussions covered everything: trade, territory, technology sharing, defense agreements, political structures, cultural exchange. Every topic was examined, argued, and eventually resolved. Captain Minho watched from Earth, where he was training new officers. They have been talking for 17 days. Do you think they will reach an agreement? Commander Yuna, visiting from Freedom Station, nodded. They will, because both sides know the alternative is worse. Continued conflict benefits no one. Dr. Doyan was more optimistic. I think we will see something new. Not council dominance. Not human dominance. But something better than either. He was right. On day 21, the agreement was announced. Ambassador Ji-won and Council Prime Valtheris stood together before the cameras. After extensive negotiations, Valtheris began, "We have reached an accord. The galaxy will no longer be unified under a single authority. Instead, it will be balanced between 2 major powers. The Galactic Council will continue to exist for those species that prefer its traditional structure. The Free Systems Alliance will exist for those that prefer humanity's model." Juan continued. Both organizations agree to several fundamental principles. Free trade between all members of both groups. No taxation on interstellar commerce. Technology sharing on a voluntary basis. Mutual defense against external threats. Equal representation, regardless of species size or age. And most importantly, the right of any species to choose which organization to join or to remain independent entirely. The announcement shocked many. Some had expected humanity to demand the Council's dissolution. Others had expected the Council to maintain its claim to supremacy. Instead, both sides had agreed to coexist. Over the following months, the galaxy reorganized itself. 600 systems chose to remain with the traditional Galactic Council. 400 systems joined the Free Systems Alliance. 53 systems declared themselves independent, preferring to work with both groups on their own terms. The changes were profound. Council systems that remained had to reform their taxation policies to compete with the Alliance's model. The Alliance had to develop diplomatic protocols to interact with the more traditional Council structure. Both sides had to learn to respect their differences. On Earth, President Kang addressed the planet one final time from his office. His term was ending, and a new president would take over. But he wanted to speak about the journey they had all taken together. 5 years ago, we faced banishment. We could have responded with anger, with violence, with a desire for revenge. Instead, we chose a different path. We chose to build rather than destroy, to create rather than conquer, to offer rather than demand. Today, the galaxy is different because of that choice. Not because we forced change on anyone, but because we showed them a better way and let them choose for themselves. 400 systems joined us freely. 53 more chose to work with us as equals. And even those who remained with the Council have reformed their ways because they had to compete with our example. This is the true strength of humanity. Not our technology, not our military, not our economy, but our belief that everyone deserves the chance to thrive. That freedom is not something to be controlled, but something to be celebrated. That the best future is one where all voices are heard and respected. At the negotiation station, now being converted into a permanent diplomatic facility, Admiral Haizhen met with Council military leaders. They were establishing joint defense protocols for dealing with threats from outside the galaxy. Your weapon systems are impressive, one Council admiral admitted. How long before you will share the technology? We are already sharing with our alliance members, Haijin replied. For Council systems, it will depend on the specific technology and the specific system. We will not simply hand over everything, but we will work with you to improve your defenses. Because a strong Council makes a strong galaxy, Dr. Doyen established cultural exchange programs. Human scientists would spend time at Council research facilities. Council scientists would visit human laboratories. The goal was not just to share knowledge, but to share perspectives. Xenobiologist Seojin continued her work with the species both groups had previously overlooked. The Drellics, now thriving members of the Alliance, had become ambassadors themselves, helping other forgotten species find their place in the new galactic order. Engineer Jihoon completed the first joint construction project, a massive space station built by both Council and Alliance workers. It would serve as a trade hub, a meeting place, and a symbol of the new era. Commander Yuna expanded Freedom Station, adding sections specifically designed for Council species who wanted to experience life in the Alliance without fully committing to membership. Many came, curious about the human way of doing things. Some returned to their Council worlds with new ideas. Others stayed and eventually joined the Alliance in the Council chamber, now half empty with so many systems having departed. Valtheris addressed the remaining members. We lost half our membership. We lost our monopoly on galactic affairs. We lost our assumption of superiority. But we gained something more valuable. We gained honesty about who we are and what we can offer. We gained competition that forces us to improve. We gained partners who challenge us to be better. Counselor Asara had become his closest advisor. Do you regret the vote? The banishment. Every day, Valtheris admitted, if we had welcomed humanity fully, if we had embraced their energy and innovation instead of fearing it, the Council might still be united. But I also wonder if that would have led to real change. Sometimes things must break before they can be rebuilt better. Ambassador Jiwan made one final visit to the Council chamber, not as a supplicant seeking admission, not as a victor demanding terms, but as an equal visiting colleagues, she met with Veltheris in his private office. The same office where, 5 years ago, he had signed the banishment order. "I wanted to thank you," she said, surprising him. "Thank me? For banishing your people? For forcing us to discover what we could become? We spent 50 years trying to fit into your system, trying to be something we were not. The banishment freed us from that. It forced us to embrace who we really are. And in doing so, we found our true strength. You are being generous. We acted out of fear and prejudice. You acted as you thought was right for your people. I cannot fault you for that. But I can thank you for the unexpected gift your decision gave us." Veltheris looked at her for a long moment. "You have changed the galaxy, Ambassador Kim. Not through conquest or coercion, but through example. That is a far greater achievement than any empire ever built.